This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 832, Becoming a Millionaire is a Letdown, by Chris Reining of chrisreining.com. And I'm Dan. Welcome to Optimal Finance Daily. I'm here each weekday reading you the best personal finance blogs on the web. For now, let's hear today's post as we start optimizing your life. Becoming a Millionaire is a Letdown, by Chris Reining of chrisreining.com. On a recent Thursday night, I logged into my brokerage account and saw an extra digit I'd never seen before. It said $1,004,845. When I was in my early 20s, I didn't think becoming a millionaire at 35 was even possible. Back then, I didn't have much money, but the little extra that I did have, I saved and invested. So this is proof of what can happen when you do that. You might think that when your account rolls over to 7 digits, that fireworks light up the sky, confetti falls, and the champagne starts flowing. I can tell you that doesn't happen. In fact, it was pretty anticlimactic. I was like, oh, cool, and then went back to work. Honestly, the financial milestone that really mattered to me was making my first $1,000 from investing. That meant my investments could make me $10,000, which meant they could make me $25,000, and so on. Recently, a 25-year-old reader emailed me to ask where I was financially when I was his age. If you find value in benchmarking yourself against me, and depending on your number, it's probably irrelevant, you can use the chart in this post. Getting to $1 million is not a straight line. There were numerous times when I lost a lot of money in the market. For example, before the recession in 2008, I had $175,000. 9 months later, I had $120,000. When that happens, it's really scary because you think you're never going to get that money back. But you have two choices when the market is falling and you're losing money. You can flee or you can stay the course. If you let fear take a hold of you, then you're likely to make the wrong choice. Psychologically, it's pretty normal for us to equate price volatility with risk and ironically end up doing risky things like selling at the worst possible time. Anyway, during the recession, I remember all the talking heads saying to invest 100% in safe treasury bills or bank CDs. For the people who took that advice, well, they're now earning essentially nothing on their savings that they thought would support them in retirement. If they hadn't acted out of fear, they could have built a great retirement portfolio with low-cost index funds. I reaped the rewards of staying the course, and now when my investments lose $70,000 in a month, which recently did happen, I recognize it's just part of the process of building wealth. How long does $1 million last? The right answer is, it depends. The so-called experts make us believe that we need $3 million before we can retire to draw a reasonable $130,000 a year. And that's a true statement if you spend $11,000 a month. When I plug my numbers into the retirement calculator FireCalc, yearly spending of $36,000, a $1 million portfolio, and 51 years left to live, based on the U.S. government's death calculator, it tells me there's a 98.9% chance my $1 million won't be depleted before I die. That means I never have to work again. Even better, there's a few key assumptions not in this calculation. 1, when my 15-year mortgage is paid off, my spending decreases. 2, if I cohabitate, my spending decreases. 3, I'll probably make some money at some point during the next 51 years. And 4, my Social Security benefits kick in at 65. What I worry about are kids and their impact on spending. I think I could raise a kid for like $85,000, but what do I know because the USDA thinks it costs up to $500,000. I just don't know yet, but my best guess is that my finances would be okay if I didn't work and had a kid or two. What's the secret to becoming a millionaire? I didn't win the lottery, I didn't inherit any money, and I didn't start a company. If you're in the same situation I am, then the fastest way to $1 million is to earn more and spend less because those are the two levers you have control over. I found that the best approach was to go after the big wins, not like these crazy people. Quote, my mom had a boyfriend that would pull the stems off of cherries before purchasing them from the grocery store because he felt they'd weigh less without the stems and he'd get more for the money. End quote. And this person, quote, a friend who used to work at a supermarket once told me about a customer who used to peel bananas before he bought them for the same reason. End quote. Instead of peeling bananas at the store to save 25 cents, that person could be getting rid of lifestyle creep, earning more at their job, learning how to invest, or starting a side business. Those are the big wins where a lot of money is hiding, so tackle those first before moving on to saving money in the produce aisle. Now, if you're pulling on the earning and spending levers, you're going to want to see the results, right? How to track your income, spending, and investments. I know what you're thinking. Boring. Nobody wants to plug numbers into a spreadsheet. I'm a weirdo because it might just be my all-time favorite thing to do. The reason I want you to start or try it for a month is because I guarantee you'll learn at least one thing about your finances that you didn't know. For example, in the late aughts, I knew I was spending a lot, but I didn't know it was almost as much as I was earning. Through tracking my money came awareness, and that led me to making a decision in 2010 to set a goal to become financially independent. Not surprisingly, by decreasing my spending and increasing my income, the amount of money I was saving exploded. I went from having about $10,000 a year to invest to having over $40,000. To become financially independent, you need to reach the crossover point when you can withdraw 4% of your investments to meet your yearly expenses. That's called the safe withdrawal rate, or SWR. On average, I used to spend $4,000 a month. By decreasing my spending to $3,000, I was able to reach financial independence faster. Simply put, the higher your expenses are, then the more money you're going to need to reach the crossover point. Benefits of $1 million. I know I'm really fortunate to call myself a millionaire. While I wasn't excited about becoming one, it does allow me to live my life in a way that seemed impossible just a few years ago. For instance, I don't have to stress about work or layoffs or getting fired or office politics. If I choose to work, I can be extremely selective, only taking jobs I'm truly passionate about. And if I wake up and decide I want to take a year or 51 off, that's what I can do. Most importantly, I've learned that money is infinite. If I work, I can get more of it, or I can let my $1 million grow to $2 million. There's always more of it out there, but time is finite. I know I have a limited number of years left, and now I have the freedom to choose how I spend it. You just listened to the post titled "Becoming a Millionaire is a Letdown" by Chris Reining of chrisreining.com. And before we go, if you enjoyed this episode today and if you like this crazy idea of reading blogs to you for free, it would be great if you could simply share this podcast with somebody today. You can email or text them a link to oldpodcast.com/listen, or even better, if you're able to subscribe them to the podcast right there on their smartphone, go ahead and do that. It's a really big help to keep this show going and growing. And that should do it for another edition of Optimal Finance Daily. I will be back tomorrow where I'll have a post from Tynan. So I'll see you there in the Wednesday show where your optimal life awaits.